So as many of you know, I'm from the Netherlands and I was asked what is my favorite Dutch dog breed. So the breeds we will discuss are of course the well-known ones, such as Dutch Shepherd, but also less known dogs will be talked about. So the Dutch Shepherd, we also know something as the Dutch Mastiff, which is just a pug as you know them, and I will not put too much time in that. We also have a Kooikerhondje, which is like a little bit of a hunting breed. And we have dogs such as the Landseer, which is a variety of the Newfoundlander. We also have dogs that are more of a terrier type, for example the Boerenfox, which is not recognized but a working breed more. And we have dogs such as Frisian breeds. Hey, being the Stabyhoun, which looks a lot like a more bulky border collie, and we also have the Wetterhoun, which looks a little bit like a Rottweiler crossed with a poodle. So, to start off, what will be my favorite breed? It all depends on what you are looking for, but I think in my opinion it will be the Boerenfox, because it closely resembles the size of a Petterdale Terrier. It's a little bit lighter in bone, sometimes bigger than the Petterdale Terrier. It's a very good protector of farms, so therefore boeren means farmers, and fox from Fox Terrier. It has some smooth-coated Fox Terrier and Parson Russell Terrier blood in its veins, so a little bit in between of those breeds, and sometimes they also add a little bit of Border Collie, smooth-coated especially, to make this breed. It's also a good rodent killer, so it keeps your farm and your house and garden free of rodents as well as intruders, by at least alarming you. But Boerenfox is quite feisty and will also oftentimes not doubt to protect it despite its size. My second on the list, who could easily be the first as well, is the Dutch Shepherd, especially the Dutch Shepherd X, which is the working version that is still used for police work. But it also depends. For me it's not number one, because this dog is not so good for families, because if you have small children, they very often want to climb up to the dominance ladder when the pups get older and more mature and stronger as well, and also in the later stage of their age they might try to become the alpha, and then your children will be the weakest, so the first to go, and that's not a good thing. I don't like that. But this is more so with the Belgian Malinois, and the Dutch Shepherd already has far less of this because there's more bull blood added. If you compare the Malinois and the Dutch Shepherd, you see that the Dutch Shepherd is a little bit lower and broader in the chest because there's bull blood infusion, and already a lot more stable type of dog. So in a sense, the Dutch Shepherd is a bull herder with a small amount of bull and a big amount of herder in the mix. After those, I would opt for the Wetterhoun, but it's very hard to find a good one. And also, when you do find them, they are often quite fat, which is hampering their performance. The big problem with the Wetterhound is because they are so little that they are now facing inbreeding depression, which would put me off of them, because now they are bred to poodles and Labrador retrievers, which especially the Labrador retriever doesn't have anything to give to this breed, except of also being a water dog. But the Wetterhound was a big dog and also protector of farms, and also a hunter on the otter. They are a feisty, very strong type of dog, and now with a hard mouth, and by breeding in Labrador Retriever you get a soft-mouthed dog, which is not as courageous at all. So a very bad decision in my opinion. But the original Wetterhoun was very nice type of dog. Then the next following up would be the Stabyhoun. It gives you almost all the benefits of a Border Collie as a family dog. Hey. But a little bit more relaxed and also better protected. So oftentimes it's compared to the Border Collie, but in my opinion you could better compare it in character with the Australian Shepherd dog, because also Australian Shepherd is a little bit more bony and more robust, stronger, and also stronger temperament, facing pushback than the Border Collie has. Border Collie has a strong temperament to work, don't get me wrong, but when they go and get stuff, Border Collie very often doesn't commit as hard as a working Australian Shepherd dog would be committed. So that would be another option, and the Stabyhoun was developed as a little bit of a guard dog, but a lighter guard dog than the Wetterhoun, but especially for killing moles, and so sometimes also the polecats, so smaller animals. So it didn't need to be such a strong dog as the Wetterhoun is, because otters were very formidable quarry. And that brings me, I think, to the Kooikerhondje, who will be the next in line. Oi. This is a small breed size of a spaniel. It was originally bred to lure ducks into the nets, especially when you have canals and you would put a net above it, and then you have a dog doing all kinds of funny things. The ducks get intrigued and want to follow up and just to see what's happening, because ducks are very, how to say this, animals that are very fast interested if something is out of the order, out of ordinary. That's what they did, and there's quite a nice agile dog, but also tempered with what many Dutch breed has, inbreeding depression, and that puts it off to a degree. Quite a light dog, only suitable for some hunting tasks that are now not as much performed anymore, the dog luring, but quite agile. And then last will be the pug. This is a toy breed, and I think one of the worst ones. Also has done enormous damage to bulldog breeds that were crossed with this toy breed to make their nose even flatter. So the current day pug is not of any interest to me. I can imagine that many people are now reviving the pug a bit, partly due to legislation, because they are not allowed to breed those flat noses anymore. And then they revive them and they breed a little bit of male Wetterhoun Terrier to a female pug bitch. Of course, the offspring will be a lot better than your average pet dog, let alone toy breed. So there can be dogs that are quite okay, but not for me. Then I would rather have the real deal. And regarding the inbreeding problems, therefore I like the number 1 and number 2, because they're just interbred with working dogs. So number 1 would be the Boerenfox, and number 2 the Dutch Shepherd. And for example, the Dutch Shepherd is crossed with the Malinois, German Shepherd of working lines, but also bull blood to keep it performing at the highest level. And the Boerenfox is especially between the Parson and the Fox Terrier, but also Jack Russell blood is sometimes added, sometimes Border Collie blood. And I think that German Hunting Terrier will also be be used more and more, and as well as the Patterdale Terrier, to infuse it. I also sometimes saw a Boerenfox where they bred a little bit of miniature Bull Terrier in. It's also known as the Bull Russell in England, and that's also a nice cross. So there you have it. The dog on the leash here is a dog bred in the Netherlands, but looking at the dachshund, but not a Dutch breed. This is a Patterdale Terrier which was originating from the border between England and Scotland, and is an English breed. Have a great day.